to The Cosmic Entrepreneur, the podcast where mystical wisdom meets the world of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Christine, and I'm honoured to be your guide on this cosmic journey of self-discovery and business success. Each month, we'll explore the fascinating realms of spirituality, energy healing, astrology, Akashic records, many other esoteric practices, and multidimensional aspects of entrepreneurship. Through open conversations, shared experiences, and practical insights, my intention is to empower you to integrate these profound teachings into your personal and professional life, helping you manifest abundance, align to your highest timeline, and make a difference in the world. Whether you are an inspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply curious about the intersection of spirituality and success, this podcast is here to enlighten, empower, and elevate you. Hello everyone, today we have Elaine with us this morning. Elaine is a queen of strategy, mindset and systems, helping many holistic entrepreneurs in business. Elaine helps many entrepreneurs to enter their rich and rested era. So today we're going to discuss how you can make a living from using your spiritual gifts. Elaine also has a podcast called Arise and Flow, which is ranking at the top 5% in the world. Elaine, I'm so happy that you're here with us this morning. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. And geez, what a beautiful introduction.
I'm loving your journey so far. I can see that you're living up Mallorca. For people that don't know, you just moved to Mallorca there a few months back, and it's just been so inspiring to watch. The first question I just wanted to ask you, so how did you get here? How did you become this holistic, energetic entrepreneur? How did you become this sassy coach? Did you always have this entrepreneurial spark?
Okay, so this is like such a long question. I could go into like my 37 years of existence on this planet and my past lifetimes. But I think really, if I had to look back, definitely the signs were there as a child. I mean, I was definitely very independent. Like, bear in mind now, I know we're going to break into like human design and Akashic records and all the spiritual gold. Like, definitely before I would have found and really opened up to spirituality, like I definitely had that intuitive insights anyways. I mean, we're all born intuitive. Like, the whole problem is that we get conditioned away from our true selves. So when I look back 100%, I remember like little things like I remember Pokemon being released, and there was no, like at the time, right, there was no coloring books. We didn't have mass production of merchandise back in like whatever 20 something years ago. And I remember actually drawing it out and selling them as designs, as coloring in pages, by just tracing it, right, to all my brother's friends for like 20p at a time. And, you know, I made my mum sign up for the Avon catalog, and I used to go out selling Avon products. So my first experience with MLM, which actually ironically was my pathway into entrepreneurship as an adult as well. So I'm always like, you know, when we hear all of this, like, your soul came here for a reason, you know, your soul always knows the way. And that is so, so true. But I lived a completely different life, I suppose. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur because I loved whatever I would see modeled to me, I suppose, probably from television. Sex and the City probably was a big role model in my time here. I'm like, I want that freedom. I want that independence. And I suppose I went on a quest looking for that from a very young age. And I loved traveling. But I went into corporate as my means of doing that. Like, as much as I was brave, I went for a global international career that, you know, so I was, you know, still following the security of the nice big salary, but I thought, but I'll get to travel with it. I get to live and travel all over the world. But actually then I was like, fuck this, man. I'm like, I'm not getting any free time to enjoy the money or actually really just like be free to like explore. Then I suppose that made me dig a little bit deeper. That brought me onto this path. But I've always been on the path in a way when I look back in terms of how significant all of everything I've done so far has been so significant to get to me to where I am today, the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like so when did you decide, okay, I'm actually not going to be in corporate anymore? Like, what was the like final push? Like, what made you really get into it?
Well, I shit you not, actually, it was like 2014. It wasn't even like, I mean, I'm in business now 3 years, that's 10 years ago. So that would have been my big, like when I was like, God, there has to be a different way. just to give this a bit of context for anyone who is into human design or like, and has that awareness, like, so the manifestor role, we say collectively, is very much more to like lead a new way, find a different way. You know, like they're often misunderstood, and you know that we've got these different ways to operate. So I think that was very much a mission for me, even when I was in corporate. And like when I was in corporate, I always knew I was meant for big things. I didn't know what, but I thought what was in the corporate environment to some extent. Always had that feeling, but I didn't know how. But I was like, I have a 5-1 profile, the investigator, the problem solver. I was like, I am going to learn everything about business. For whatever reason, I just was so hungry just to learn and develop. So it was when I really kind of saw what life was on the top. I was lucky to excel like really well in my career, but I got to look at life at the top very earlier on. Like, you know, as in I didn't have to be the CEO, but I was up there as the project management for the exec team. And I was like, this isn't great. I'm like, these guys they're all tired, they're disconnected. It's just like hustle, hustle, hustle. They don't have a lot of time with their families. I'm kind of going, that's actually not the life. If that's what my life is going to look like in 5 to 10 years time, I actually don't want that. Basically, after I'd finished the last big launch, I quit and I went to India for 6 weeks to go and do yoga teacher training, not with the intention of necessarily being a teacher or anything. Yoga at the time was the only thing that brought me some solace, like that yoga and massages. Like that was kind of like the only bit of self-care I had to try and keep my cup full to some extent when I was like burning out in corporate. So I just kind of jumped in and followed that path and was like, fuck it, like what have I got to lose, you know?
Yeah, I love that. You're like, well, I'm just gonna go out there and I'm gonna take, and was it like 6 weeks? Did you quit and you're like, I'm just gonna do yoga? Or was it like, I'm gonna just take a little break and see what this is all about? Or were you like, no, I'm actually gone?
God, no, God, no. Bear in mind, like, I mean, a decade ago, it's so, and this is why, like, it's changed so much now. And I'm kind of going, like, this used to be a lot, as much as it can still feel lonely, it was a way, there was nobody on Instagram 10 years ago teaching you how to make a business out of your passion. Like, that didn't actually exist. And this is where my big realization that comes from, kind of going, like, wow, this is what I'm here to teach. You know, I'm here to teach people how to blend the spiritual side of business with strategy and actually make a living out of your purpose and your passion, because I've been spending like a lifetime obviously on this pathway. But no, so for me, it was more to actually discover who was I outside of, I didn't know who I was outside of corporate, like outside of being the expert in digital and strategy and marketing and whatever. And I'm like, who is this girl, right? And so that was kind of, I suppose, the start of that discovery. And then I moved back to Ireland. At the time, I'd been living in Myanmar, and I've been in Asia for like 5 years at this point in time. So I was out of Ireland a long time. As you know, I have a lot of Asian ancestry in my lineage of past lives. So for me, like I definitely was intuitively called there for a lot of different soul retrievals, activations, one thing another. And I think deconditioning, it really allowed me to step into my power more from being like the tall poppy in Ireland.
It's like you were like this catalyst within your family, and you're like, okay, I'm just going to do my own thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would love to say going, yeah, my family were the greatest cheerleaders of that, but like that was absolutely not the case. There's no way. Would I say to my own children if they were leaving a big 6-figure job, yeah, go out and sell some essential oils there and make a few €100 a month for a while? No, like they probably, well, actually, I would personally, because I know now.
Yeah,
like we know differently now, but like, I mean, back then I can understand why. And that's like the hardest part for a lot of us, to really step into our gifts. I moved back to Ireland. Actually, I went and I ended up setting up a digital agency, because I came back and I was like, whoa, well, with somebody else. And I went in and pitched it. I'm kind of going, digital is the future. So as you can see, my 5-1 is like, on reflection, was always so evident. I just wasn't aware of this. Like, I mean, Jesus, I would have been such a better negotiator of salaries and shit had I had the tools of the human design and being able to channel all the stuff, right? So yeah, I ended up going to this for like, did that for like 2-3 years. And then went into a health and wellness brand where I brought their brand online and into like online courses and building it out globally on digital. And then I was like, fuck this. So then I actually really was like, right, there was so much mastery on that end. But like at the whole time, I've always been training in like massage, I've been training in Reiki, and I've been just following the breadcrumbs, really. And then the crunch time came in 2020. So that was like another awakening for me, as it was being for many collectively, where I was kind of going, right, girl. I was like, you're either going to do this or you're not going to do it. That's why we're here today.
Yeah, you came to a point in 2020 where you're like, right, I'm just gonna merge everything together, everything I know in holistics, my Reiki, my massage, and just blend it in with everything on digital. And then you came out, and I'm not sure when I met you, on Instagram a few years back anyway, and I just found you, and I was like, oh my god, I love what you're all about, merging like holistics and business together, and that's how wanted to try your course. Oh my god, it was amazing. I'm still on to you, and I'm like, what are the lacking details? Because I need to get in here. I need to listen to the hypnosis track because it's been such a game changer for me doing my business and how I do free systems, because I was kind of afraid of them at the start. Like, I was very in my feminine. I'm like, okay, I'll do the thing, I'll do the Reiki sessions, I'll do Akashics, but I wasn't very comfortable with the systems. But now I'm just like, I'm in the flow, I know what I'm doing, and like, people can book in and I don't have to like run after people. It's just I feel rested and I feel like that the business is working for me, that I don't have to be chasing anybody. So how did Empress even come to you? Could you talk about that? How did you get this download of like, okay, the world needs this?
Yes. So I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted that, right? But I really struggled to go like, well, what am I actually good at? Right. As I'm like, how can I make a business? And that's the big question for a lot of us. Even like when people do say like their gifts is they've developed spiritual gifts, like being a channel, then they're like, it's like, well, how do I actually turn that into an income? And I'm kind of going like, no, we are meant to get paid for our gifts. Right. So I have a few advantages, I suppose, as in like one, I was used to earning a good bit of money. I had a great job, right? Obviously, money was never my motivator. However, I didn't have the blocks around that. Oftentimes, I can find in the spiritual space where it's like, no, but I want to do good in the world, so I'm going to do it for free. And I'm kind of going, yeah, honey, but like, I mean, that's not going to put food on your table. It's not going to regulate your nervous system, and it's not actually going to allow you to hold space and serve at a level that's actually going to help people really in the long term. Like, there's no sustainability there. But when I had exited, I'm done with the corporate world in 2020. I'm like, I'm going out my own. It was in like, was using, for me, primarily, it was like essential oils and retreats and, workshops around self-care. And that's what I used to do on the side, right? There's a big difference. And for anyone who is in a side hustle right now, I'm like, listen up, extra, because, there's a big difference between standing behind another company and working behind a brand than standing on your own trying to sell something or do anything. Mm-hmm. And when we start out, then like we can be, when we're side hustling, where it's like we don't need the money for our basic needs, so we don't put as much importance on the mindset around like charging our worth, understanding profitability, and all of these things, right? So then a lot of people transition out, and then it's like, oh, I'm not making any fucking money, I'm stressed. And what do? They revert back to all of the conditioning that's fed into us. Like, you want more, you work harder. You want more, you do more. And it's back to the self-sacrifice. And that is not why anybody that's listening to this podcast or that has stepped in to be an energy worker or like, that's here to be one of the conscious leaders. Like, I mean, that is not why we stepped into this space. We didn't step in to be wrecked and burnt out and broke, right? We stepped in to follow our passion, do good in the world. And for us to do good, we need to be compensated for that, like, well. So I think for me, what I couldn't fully, as much as I was like, oh no, I want to work in health and wellness. And I was sharing the tools at the time, which was essential oils, that helped me recover from the burnout I was experiencing corporate. But I was like allergic to all of the skills that I also had within my own blueprint, within my own experience. Like, for example, like the strategy and the visionary thinking and the problem solving abilities and all my experience with tech and stuff. So I really took some time out because I was like, I do not want to be broke. I don't want to be broke on this. I'm here to live a life of richness as well. And I really dug into like really, really so much into my blueprint, a lot into like my channel, so much into like any people pleasing. Then eventually, and I honoring the rest as the manifester, then it all just like birthed through me, which was the SAS Collective and the SAS Success Framework, which was like, how do we blend all this? So focusing on the 4 pillars of like self-mastery being the first port of call, aligned aspired action. So like breaking in like, okay, well, we're getting the downloads or we're getting the inspiration, or this is the gifts. How do we actually move this forward in a way that works for you. So it's more personalized, because I see a lot of people, they're starting a business and they're jumping into these programs that is just like, do this, do this, do this, but it's not actually working for their energy, or else they have huge mindset blocks around it. So like all of this needs to be cleaned up first before we're moving into any sort of systems and strategy, which is the third pillar to activate your SaaS. And then fourth being what success looks and feels like. So through this, then following this formula, like I brought this into like initially like what would be the mastermind and Empress. So it's a way for you to actually work with your own blueprint to create a business model and create the strategy and the systems and everything that works specifically for you and your energy. So like, you know, that's like what the way you've created yours together is completely different than what I've done, but I've helped you unlock that for yourself. And honestly, it's been such a joy as well, right? Because Empress is my evergreen, which I created because I know I'm a manifester, and I'm like, I'm not going to be doing live launches all the time. It doesn't suit my energy. But I was like, I want this to be available at a lower cost than the live version. And you just went and you just like rocked it out of the park. And like, I'm seeing all these new automations come up, and it's so slick from the get-go. And it's funny because when I see people do that first, they don't realize how much headache they save themselves from being in their WhatsApp all the time, arranging things manually for time for bookings, always going back to the drawing board. So basically, I just saw all of the problems that I see in the collective of why people are broke and burnt out, and developed a new way, basically.
Yeah, it was such a like game changer. Like, I'm so glad I went with my gut instinct, because I saw you advertising it and I was like, oh my God, what is this? I know I needed it. And I think it was like 3 weeks in after listening like to the hypnosis and stuff, I was actually after doing my like Reiki level 2, and I was dipping into like the mediumship classes too. And then I just get this download like, Christine, you need to like make these candles. For some reason, I don't know why, because I love my essential oils and I love everything natural. And I was sitting kind of with this idea. I was like, I always wanted to create something, and I was like, whether it be a journal, it'll be something physical. I always want to create a physical product. And 3 weeks in after like listening to hypnosis about worth and everything, I just got it. They were like, okay, you need to make this candle. And it was like natural, soy wax, essential oil, like lavender, blah, blah, blah. I was making it for like 3 months. And then I just went for it and I just got it done. And it just happened so quick. And I was like, where is this coming from? And I was like, it's all about like working on my belief systems. And actually through the course, it has helped me shift like all these mindset monsters. Yeah, I just thought Impress was amazing. And I still go back to it all the time, because I find the more you level up, the more blocks come up. And you're like, oh my God, I thought I went through this already. But then more blocks come up. So then it's constant. Like you're always, I feel like I always need to be working on my mindset.
Yeah.
Like all the time. Yeah, it's just like such a big thing. And then finding out that the more we learn about ourselves, like the more in tune, the more we can create, the more products or services we create, the more we can give. And like this kind of brings me into like the human design. Like I'm a generator, I'm a 2/4. Like I do need my time to myself. And 4 then meaning like I love to collaborate. I love to go out. So it's like just knowing that, like even like the smallest detail about my human design, I'm like, oh, okay, I actually understand how I work. So I know you have done your human design, and I was wondering, would you be able to like just kind of go into it a little bit? Because I know you're saying we're all so different. I know there's like different types. I know you're a manifestor. I know you're 5/1. That's completely kind of, I suppose, different to my energy type. But we really kind of work together, because it's like
honestly, I love the manifestor generator relationship in it. Like it isn't particularly to work with in a mentoring capacity, right? Because sorry, when I'm here going like from the alignment piece, when you're really connected with your sacral, because it's like, I even remember at one point when you were looking at your branding at the start, and I'm here kind of going, oh, this is kind of what's coming through for you, and like you're getting the sacral. It's just like boom, and then like literally 2 hours later, your new brand was online. And I'm here going, like, and it brings me so much, I don't know, like so much joy. I don't know, I always just feel so proud. I'm kind of going, fuck, this is just so amazing. And it's such a different way of doing things. And I think a lot of people don't appreciate. I'm always like, you don't know what you don't know in business. And the thing is, I'm here kind of going like, I know business like to my core, right? Because obviously that's what I've done for my whole life. and in many different forms. And I look at it from a completely different perspective now in terms of like energetics and spirituality and consciousness. We all have our own part to play collectively. So that we've 5 energy types in human design. So for anyone who's unaware of their human design, I will give the link to Christine to put in the show notes so you can download your free chart from my website. So you can kind of get a bit of context here, right? So this is really the big tool that really helped me kind of master and understand who I was. It was like a big permission slip that I'm kind of going like, right, okay, this is how my energy works. So say for you, for example, when you're like, oh, I'm the 2-4. So the 2 is the hermit line. So they love a lot of time by themselves. And I'm the manifestor, right? So we like a lot of rest. We recharge on our own. So sometimes like conditioning, and if there's any sort of people pleasing, would have me kind of go, oh, I'll say yes to things because I feel like I should go. But I really don't want to fucking go. I'm tired. But actually, now that I understand really how energy works and where all of this fits in with business, with alignment, with manifesting, all of it, I'm here kind of going, nah, like, sorry, I'm not going because that's going to cost me too much, right? If by me being the people pleaser. So I would say in terms of like, if you're looking to explore it, it's understanding, first of all, what is your energy type? So we've got the manifestor, which is like 8% of us. We're non-sacral. We've got the reflector, which is only 1%. They're like the mirror for society to show us like how we're getting on. There's the generator, which is the sacral being, and the manifesting generator, which is a hybrid between the generator and the mani-gen. That's like almost 70%. So like most of us try and behave like the generator and the mani-gen because we're all so conditioned to go, 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 go. And that's actually why I took this as my big permission slip to go, wow, I really need to learn how to rest. Like part of my role here in society is to actually decondition people how to rest, right? And this is where I've learned so much more, even just playing around with this in my own strategy and business, because when I would take the breaks, that's when I would get this creative urge then that would be like, it's always just been a huge creation that has completely leveled up my business. And I'm kind of in another version of that right now where I'm here kind of going, yep, using my formula, this is how we activate your rested and rich era, because being rested is actually your strategy to enter more richness in your life in terms of day-to-day happiness, joy, abundance, how you serve, because we need a calm, regulated nervous system to be able to receive, right? So understanding your human design type is really important. Sorry, the last energy type that I'm missing is the projector, which is our guides for society. So like, I would encourage you to look at it in terms of like understanding your energy type. Like, how does your aura work? How do you master that energy? Like, because, you know, there's different, I'd work with everyone. I'm doing a blueprint or a reading with them. It's like, what do I recommend for you to help improve your sleep? Because like, I can imagine you, Christina, like you're a generator, right? So if you were on a call with me, say we did a midnight coaching call or like a late coaching call, you would be like, I've given you like a bag of drugs or something. Like, I mean, pumped up going, because your sacral is going to be hopping, your channel's happening. Would you sleep?
Yeah, 100% not. I'll be pumped and I probably won't sleep until I'll probably just go on a quest and do all the projects in one.
Hey, because if you get that sacral hit, so it's like actually no. So for me, I'm always like, right, okay, well, sacrals, I'm like, exercise works great for you guys in the evening. Non-sacral beings, so like the projectors, reflectors, manifestors, we operate best actually like more of a morning exercise, because the evening time we're better off winding down for at least 1 to 2 hours before bed. Whereas I'm like, for you, if I wanted to maximize your energy for your business and your overall life, I'm like, right, like think about like, you know, do the kids' lunches the night before, maybe do a rundown of the house, like expel, like just think of your sacral as this big Duracell battery that you want to empty out, because otherwise it's powering the rest of the system, which is, if it's the mind and inspiration, like it's just like, it's like, no. And like rest is just so important.
I find that as well. Like with me, I'm like, okay, I make a list because sometimes I have so much stuff in my head. I'm like, okay, that needs to be done, that needs to be done. Okay, I'm going to write it down. And at the end of the day, as I go, I actually just use a pen and just cross everything off what I've done. And it helps my mind to relax. I'm like, okay, like do like a big brain dump and cross it off as I go. Because if I don't, there's just so much going on in my head that I won't be able to sleep.
100%. Yeah. Love my list, and I love my Asana board. If you haven't set one up, that's actually a really good tool for dumping in loads of actions.
What's that?
Asana, it's like a task management tool.
Yeah.
I even use one for like the house as well. It's actually in your Empress. You should go check it out in the tech section.
Lovely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know I definitely mentioned it and I didn't download it. I did start using my Google Calendar. Because I remember you were like, you need to use your Google Calendar. Oh, do you know what else I love? The cycle syncing that we've done.
Oh no, the cycle syncing is a game changer. And this is why it's like a lot of us, we're learning this here and this here and this here and this here and this here, but it's like, actually, how do we practically bring that into business? I mean, I remember, I'm sure you remember at some points I'm here going like, we need to bring human design systems into school. And I'm saying this here to anyone who's teachers, who's interested, because I think it would be such a game changer. Like, really, like, it's funny because I see a lot of people, they talk about like, oh, entrepreneurship is so hard and so stressful. And honestly, I really genuinely cannot say that I've ever said that in the last 2 years of like, when I actually worked through my own formula, the SAS methodology, and bringing in the human design and fine tune my business to my design to maximize my energy and my gifts, and really worked on cleaning up the energy. Like, it's a different fucking ball game. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, you believe you're reconnected back to your soul purpose. And then it's like the inner work then is around like all your beliefs and deconditioning and any healing that needs to be done. And then it's just like go. But like, there's a level of peace, I think, I don't know, knowing. And I remember at some points of being on the spiritual journey and thinking like, it's like, oh, just remember, it's all within you. It's all within you. I'm always like, well, what the fuck does that actually mean? Remember what I'm thinking. I can't remember anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, our memories are blocked from bloody trauma or bad experiences or like, soul fragmentations or whatever. But like, these are actually all the tools that really do guide us back home. And then it's like, okay, yeah, get some simple systems and align a strategy that works for you and your gifts. And it's just like, boom, like it actually can be that simple, right? I mean, the hard work is actually is navigating life. Do you know, I think it's like the business piece should be easy and should be simple. So that's actually what I enjoy, like kind of bringing it all together in one place. So it's like, we're not just getting all this inspiration. Like, there's no point having a channel and being connected to the 5D if we're not actually able to birth it into real life things that are supported by masculine structures to actually make the change in the world in the first place, which is what you do such an amazing job of. So I'm just like, yes. And for me, it's proof from my subconscious as well in my own channel, which you get all the time as well from all the amazing testimonials that you get from your systems that are automated as well. I love seeing people that they're all like amazing confirmation that they get from working with you. Like, it's just a completely new way of business that we do now. And it's just like, wow. And we're only getting started, which is so exciting.
Yeah, it's like if everybody had a birth chart or like a human design reading when they were like born, and in schools we knew exactly what we were. Actually, this is the way I work. This is when I rest. This is when I do the thing. Like, because we're all so different. And like you said earlier, like all of us actually, when we don't know our human design, we all act like as generators, and because we are conditioned, like you have to work hard and you have to keep going. But like, we're all different. And like, if you had like the blueprint of actually, this is how you work, like everybody would be an entrepreneur and doing their own thing.
And do you know, sometimes I wonder though, I do ponder this. I'm like, because I definitely know some friends of mine at times have been triggered by me going, oh my God, I'm so fucking happy I left my corporate job or whatever on Instagram. Look how great life gets to be now, whatever. But I mean, like, I've been obviously on this quest for a long time, because I once had a corporate job. I got offered a job in Fiji, right? I mean, I moved to Fiji, like in the Pacific Islands. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have the best life ever. Now, it was not pina coladas on my lunch break. It was work. There was like get no tan and over. And so I was like, there has to be a way that we can enjoy all of these things and more presence in our life. And bear in mind, actually, back then, right, that was like, we were delivering like, this is all like 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever. Like, some of the projects that I would have worked on, like we worked with like the UN doing like tech projects, like connecting rural communities and like Papua New Guinea with like mobile money tech services and stuff, like really world first innovations. This is why I know that my manifestor self, I was in alignment then at that point in time. Like, this was all part of the journey. So like, the thing is, part of my purpose, like my role as the manifestor, is to lead and find and pave new ways, right? And our language can be triggering as fuck, and that's what we're meant to be doing, right? Because we are meant to initiate or repel those who are meant for us or not, right? So really, the more we own that, then the more effective we are doing what we're meant to do. But I actually do think of kind of like, if everybody was aligned in their human design, how much different would the world be? As like, I mean, I don't know about you or for everyone listening, but I definitely know when I would have embarked on this path, I kind of like isolated myself into my community of like spiritual people only. My niche used to be just spiritual entrepreneurs. But then gradually people that were coming out of corporate that wanted to leave their jobs and wanted to activate their gifts and make a business started to come. And I was like, wow, okay. I was like, I'm actually enjoying this expansion because I actually think the concepts of spirituality and frequency and everything are just going to become mainstream and part of day-to-day life. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the future. I do think bringing human designs back to school, and I think maybe is sovereignty. Like ultimately, that's what we all want, whether we're aware of that desire or not. Like we all have a place in the world, and that will look different for every single one of us, you know. And I think that's even really true in business as well. Like we move into the spiritual space, right, and we can see a lot of the same shit being recreated from the old paradigm. Do I need to be a 7-figure spiritual mentor to be amazing? And like that has no indication as to how effective your channel is or how effective your work is or any of these things. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, let's go and recreate. I need to make my brand look like this. And it's like, no, like we will just feel fucking miserable. And this is why I'm like, activate yourself, like really develop that self-mastery within yourself so that you're aware. Because even though you're spiritual, like we have a lot of open centers where we can be very influenced, even if we're in a spiritual bubble, which is what I've noticed before as well.
Yeah, 100%. So that's why I love like human design and astrology, because when you know yourself, you're in your power. Would you say it would be really helpful in relationships? Like, because my son is a generator and he's a 2-4, and then my partner is a generator and he's 4-6. We have a house full of generators who are just full of life.
I mean, geez, you can master energy at a whole new level through understanding human design. So like when I would have trained as a human design coach, literally, I mean, anyone that I knew, I'm like, can I get your birth data? Can I get your birth data? And I'm going like, and honestly, it has really improved all my relationships. Okay, well, not all of them. We all have some relationships that are challenging in our families and all that. But I mean, in terms of in my immediate surroundings, I would have printed like Johnny and the boys out, and I had them like up by the fridge. I mean, even here in Harry, like I mean, when he was 9, even he was like, "I'm a 3-5 generator. What are you?" You know. So I'm here going like, "Wow!" Imagine kids being able to talk with that level of awareness of kind of going, "Well, actually, I have an open solar plexus, so I need some time." By myself to make sure that I'm discharging the energy and the emotions of other people, so it's not coming into their centers. I think it is really powerful. I mean, from Jesus in a relationship point of view, say for us, I'm a manifestor and so is my husband, which I'm always like as well. We're destined to meet. Jim. I was like, that was a soul, and it was very much a soul connection. We met. It was a feeling like I'd never had, even though like it was completely not what I wanted on paper. But now I'm here going like, wow, this is so interesting. So learning the strategy of the manifestor, which is to inform, was like very, very important for our relationship. And it's something that we're still having to work on all the time, because manifestors, we don't really like informing because we just want to do our own thing. So, I mean, and now particularly say for the two of us in business, because he's moved into entrepreneurship now as well, because so I'm getting everyone out in the world, they're into their purpose work. So we're here obviously now learning to like share space together in that regard. Yeah. But it helps on a relationship point of view, but then even on business, say I'm like sitting down with him in his blueprint. So say you for the 2-4, so he's the 4-6, the same as your husband. So like the 4s, anyone that's listening with a 4 profile is like a golden ticket in your business, right? In terms of how your business works. So be mindful of like what your energy type is, whether it's the projector to wait for the invitation or the generator to respond, but get out and network. That is like, your network is going to be the key for you evolving in business. So like, this is like activities like this for you, Christine, like, doing the collaborations on podcasts, collaborations on events, going to networking things or co-working days where your sacral is having the opportunity to respond to things that the universe is going to be presenting to you. So you're not in the shadow as well of the 2, which is like the hermit that like wants to stay on their own, right? So you develop a whole new level of self-mastery that also influences how you can apply strategy. So this is when I say I work with people on strategy, it's like this. I'm not here going, get into Facebook for 30 minutes a day and post in 3 groups, and this is how you're going to grow your brand. Like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, your strategy is completely different. There's no pushing and seeking out clients, which feels like yucky, like, even to anybody, you're just like, I don't want to be doing that. When you work on your energy and you know what you're offering, people find you. It's like, that's how I found you, because you were so in your power. I was like, oh, okay, I love her energy. I love what she's all about. I think we can be so like conditioned in a way that like we're looking at everybody else what they're doing. This is the way you need to be doing this, but it's completely different then when you are in this kind of business and you know how you take.
The thing is what I to say to people, right? Because like to reframe in our subconscious mind, because when we are building a personal brand, right, it's us. And I'm very much like, as we work through in Empress and building out your business ecosystem and everything, like, yes, your business is a separate entity. And when we design your business, like when we design the model and we decide the strategy and like, you're creating your offers, we're doing it from a place of empowerment because we've cleaned up all the gunk, right? We're always working on the mindset and the deconditioning. So that energy is off there on its own separate entity. Yeah, like, I mean, something bad happens in your life, or yeah, you're going through a freaking dark night of the soul. I mean, we've been building your business from a place of like authenticity from the beginning, from a way that's aligned from you from the beginning, that like it is still like going to be there doing its work for you, right? So we get to decide how this works for us, because when we were in say anyone who's in a corporate position, right, when we look at like kind of say getting sales, like from a very financial point of view and getting results in a business, right, it is a business that's created and there is tons of people in there, right? Energy is still relevant here, right? Because for people, if you ever notice, like when people would hire in companies, it's like we hire for the people and we're like, because you can teach people skills, but you can't teach people personality, right? So people are still hired for the personality to some extent, but that's never fucking celebrated about you. Like I wasn't celebrated going to go, saying you're such a go-getter and you're so driven, because maybe it would make me too big for my britches, but it was like, saying you're great at delivering 100K months and all this kind of stuff, right? Whatever. But the thing is, I only stay in that job until I'm burnt out. We naturally emit ourselves from the process. When it comes to the point that we don't have anyone managing our performance anymore, it's like either we leave or we're managed out, right? So energy is still relevant. But so this is why when you're on your own as a personal entrepreneur in business, I am like, you are the number one fucking priority. Number one. The second is your laptop, your technology. Because I'm kind of going, I'm actually looking at kind of like when I sat with this client, we were in a session of the day and she was really struggling with this. And I'm kind of going like, right. I was like, you're working for a 250,000 euro year, right? I was like in an online business. And I was like, what are the two things that are going to drive that 250,000? I was like, it's your physical body. And I was like, and this laptop that you use to connect and create and do everything else. And I'm kind of going like, so I was like, this is what's most important right now for us to bring into alignment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That's like I found it like hard at the start to be like, oh, but I need to be doing all the things, and I have to be on all the time. And it's not true. Like you really have to look after yourself. Like if I need a nap, I'll take a nap. If I need to go for a massage, I'll book in for a massage. Not because like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go for a massage because like I love myself, but like you have to love yourself. Like you have to show yourself love. You have to mind your body and work in your mind, because it's such different work to like your 9 to 5. Like you have to be rested in order to give. And this is where like even pricing comes in. Some people like I hear, you can't be charging for a gift. I'm like, of course you can. Like this is your time, this is your expertise. Years went into everything that you've learned, all your courses in marketing, in Reiki, in energy healing. You have to be the best channel for a client. Where does this energy come from? Like I cannot give you like say a Reiki session if like I'm all over the shop. Like if I am in a bad place, I have to cancel like an appointment because I can't be there for somebody when I'm going through it. I feel like you have to honor yourself in order to give. Like, because you can't like pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. I mean, geez, I've been preaching Operation Overflow for a few years now. And it's only because, well, Jesus, I burnt out like so many times in my corporate job. I was literally just like, yeah, like an expensive lifestyle, because I had to spend so much money going on retreats and doing all this stuff to keep trying to fill up the cup. And it was only then through entrepreneurship, again, like the human design and understanding it all, I was like, no, but if we overflow, we stay more consistent. And I was like, how do I, because we all struggle with inconsistency, but the thing is in like we think inconsistency, it's the action. We need to be like constantly in a particular type of action. Do you know what I mean? To be consistent, but it's actually like the key to being consistency is actually your energy. So when we actually really master the energy, then the rest of the things get easy. Well, sorry, easier. So like, isn't that we're working, we can be working with our cycle, that we understand how to optimize our energy. We can understand how we need to prioritize rest. And it's just a whole other different way of being. And I'd say there's a lot of people right? That their nervous system is like calming down now because they've watched you do it. They've watched me do it. Do you know what I mean? There's so much proof out there now that like there is this different way. And like, honestly, I just have hunger in my belly because like back to what you were saying on the planning going, do you have a 5-year plan? I remember I never seeked business funding when I was starting out. Like, I know there's a lot of programs you can do and you get 20 grand, whatever. And I actually was like, not a fucking chance. One, I teach it 10 times better myself. And two, I was like, I could not listen to, because I'd seen people go through it and they lost their uniqueness that they had worked quite hard for in their entrepreneurship. Like, because there was elements of conforming and you have to do this to get the budget, and you have to do this to get the budget. I'm like, no, it's totally not the energy that I want to be in, because we are here to lead this different way. And that is our secret, is ourselves. It's like you are the secret sauce for your business. Every single person that's listening here has their own uniqueness, has their own purpose that they're here to pursue, and that deserves to get paid like really well for that, because this work is hard. It's hard work. It's hard work to be able to surrender yourself and take time out and go, okay, I've got this, or to go through the dark night of soul, or to do the healing. Like, and that's why when you get through the other side of that, there's just a beauty, another level of peace. But I just want to say one thing for like beyond the human design piece and being the channel and using these services that are available to help with the strategy and the planning, like your 5-year, because like I never, like, if you told me last January, even what time are we in March?
We are May.
What May? I was like, what month is it? May. I didn't even know. Yeah. If you told me last May that my husband would have quit his job, retrained as a breathwork coach, I would have sold my house and I would have been living in Mallorca, I would have been like, go on, you're fucking crazy. Genuinely. I mean, even though it was in, like, I can feel this for a long time. I always knew we would move. He had just changed career. He said it was minimum going to be there 2 years, yada, yada, yada. And things went on, right? And I remember, so back to like, I was like, talk about like the works and the rest. So I obviously got this initiation myself when I sat with ayahuasca, and I was like, move, and like, this is your higher timeline and you need to get onto the land here. And I'm here going like, what the fuck? And then I come back and I'm like, to my husband, I think we should sell our house. And I had in a meditation, a vision of like, I had a vision of me here with my red dress. I don't know if you've seen my new actually energized free masterclass download on Instagram. So I had a vision of me on a cliff wearing a red dress like this here. It was like, you're going to go through this new expansion in your business and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, right, okay. And it was like about to move. And also I had the exact figure that I should sell my house for.
In meditation.
In a meditation. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was, I think it was like 20,000. Well, the real estate agent actually recommended going 20,000 lower. And I'm like, no, this is what I wanted to go up for. And I held my guns in this, right? And I remember, and this is where I'm like, I've been into like, there's so many amazing people like Christine. There's like Kathy from Enlightened Hearts here that I went for a psychic reading at the same time as well. Cause I was like, as much as I trust in my own channel, right? There was times where it like, I mean, when you commit to making a leap, you're also committing to die. Like, you're committing to a death phase, to be reborn. And it is like ungrounding as fuck, right? I'm here kind of going, oh my God, I'm selling my house. Like, it's been the foundation of my safety. It's where I built my business these last few years. Like, oh my God. I'm like, I was like, I'm actually not going to hold group space in this time, because I'm going to really give myself the space to regulate and go through this like in a way that feels nourishing. Like, it doesn't have to be as ungrounding as our usual death phases. But anyways, I remember then but there was times like, where am I going, like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? And it was 12 weeks in the end, it took for the house to sell. I already left the country. I already moved. I left an empty house that I like was our family home, just empty there on its own. But I went to you for my Akashic reading. And I was like, okay, can you just give me some guidance on this, right? Because I had no idea. Like, I mean, and even at that, it's still unraveling. And like, I mean, 6 months in, I had no idea, like, even like what life was going to look like. But I just fully trust based on a feeling, based on, like, yeah, like the energy that I was feeling that was coming in, which was like so expansive and abundance. And you gave me the craziest advice, if you want to tell everyone, because I was like, hasn't sold yet. My husband's telling me to drop by. He's like, do we drop it by 20 grand? And I'm like, no, I'm staying committed to the vision. I'm not changing. I'm like, I'm just gonna hold it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I fully trust the process. So I'm like, Christine, help me, please. Or like, I'm like, what's, and you were like, I really see you. I remember you're like this. I really see you're selling this through like an unconventional means. And I don't know whether it's like through podcasts or media of some form. And I was just like, do a podcast of asking people to buy my house. I mean, that's a bit fucking weird, right? Or whatever. But I was just like, but obviously that can come in any form. So I sat with it, right? And Kathy from A Night in Heartseer, who is also an amazing channel and psychic tarot reader, or was staying with us at the time, and we actually pulled some more cards on that. And she had the girl that has is it the 5 of Wands? The girl, she's like on the stage. She's got this beautiful deck. I always just remember the pictures first, but she actually said the same thing. And there was something with daisy, and she's like, a daisy chain, like it's gonna come somehow through the network or through online. And I was kind of going, okay. So I was like, I put it on my Instagram stories, right? I was like, oh, here's my house, which feels very weird. I'm like, I'm a business energetics mentor. I'm not a fucking real estate agent. And there's also another element of here going like, I'm here. Oh, here's my home. And it's giving so much information about yourself. And I'm like, I share so much already. But anyways, I did it. And then I got on the plane. Or sorry, I got on the boat. And I actually, when I was getting on the boat and I closed the door in the house, and we did a whole cord cutting with the house where like we completely separate. I thank you so much. And had a beautiful ceremony of like all the beautiful things that happened there. And then I got on the boat and I was like, I need a sign. I'm like, I'm asking my guides. I'm like, I need a sign that this is all going to work out, that this is the right move by the time I get to Mallorca. So I get to Mallorca, and then I open up my phone and we just move into this new place that we're staying for 3 months while we're transitioning. And there's an article from the agent. So the independent property, so like, leading newspaper in Ireland has contacted to feature our house in the property section in print and digital. And I was like, what? And so they wanted to do this whole interview on us and everything. And I'm here kind of going, shut the front door, like as this free feature, because everyone thinks, like a lot of my friends are like, well, I just thought you knew somebody. I'm like, no, this is attraction, right? Because we have this thing of like, we think action is all like, go, 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 go. Like, and like, for me, I'm like, no, I'm taking action. Like I'm following my intuition. I'm following like all these little nudges that I'm getting, right? So this is the action, and the universe is seeing me following my higher timeline, working against all the blocks and all the fears of like, well, what if you fail? And what if business doesn't work out? And now you've no house and all this kind of shit, right? Like there's so many things, but I'm like, no. So I worked on that. So, I mean, and for me, that was going to you and Kathy at that point in time, going like, I need some more guidance. And two separate people, you and Kathy, both pulled in on the same thing. It's going to go through unconventional means. What, a newspaper contacting you? You can't even make this shit up. Like logically, my mind was not even able to think aside from creating my own podcast. And this is all this beautiful intelligence that we have within us and that we have to access that goes beyond, I'm sorry, like any of what we have learned or what we've learned in a way to do business before. But it's also in a way that's grounding for our nervous system, and it's fucking good for our bank balance as well, and for the people that benefits from the work.
Job, like that is a mad story. Like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
You asked and you received. You're like, guys, come here, like, show me. Like, I have to have some guidance. And you just got to Spain and open up your phone, and there it was.
Yeah. And so sorry, actually it did sell. Sorry, I forgot the actual whole point of the for me, I get so blown away by the actual power of channeling and spirituality that I do forget about the actual and like the results. Then a couple of weeks, or sorry, they did the interview. It went in the paper on a Friday, and we got the offer exact amount the next day, a few weeks later. So yeah. So sorry. So yeah, with the guidance came, the action came, the results came. Yeah. So this is why we need to clear up the energy, because otherwise, if I'd been listening to drop money off the price and the fear, I'm like, no, I'm holding my ground, hold your belief, you'll get the results.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, hold your belief and get the results. Like, that is amazing, because like you're acting from your higher self. It's like, what would my higher self do? It's like, that's what you say. Like, what would my higher self do? And just follow it, follow your like inspiration, your insight, and trust your channel, because you have an amazing channel. You're just picking everything up and you're like, right, I'm just going to go with it. And you don't let the doubts come in. And that's where the miracles happen. Oh, love it.
And this is why we're all here for each other, to guide each other and share our gifts on this path. And like, that essentially is what the new earth is. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're creating. It's not, but it's happening within the 3D. It's not like some being created off over here in some other worlds that we think we're going to transition from this one to the next one. Do you know what I mean? It's like actually embodying and anchoring all of this work into the 3D and bringing it out there collectively.
Yeah. So, I mean, thank you so much for that, for your lovely testimonial. Like offering these type of readings, like really, really brings me joy. You can really get the guidance and support that you need in the moment. All you have to do is ask, and I'm here to deliver.
You're here to deliver. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on and share your wisdom. How can people connect with you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing. I don't even know how long we've been here now because it's like we're dropping in and out of different dimensions. You can reach out and connect with me on Instagram, essentially_Elaine, and I will share my links here. And I would love to offer all of your beautiful community 20% off of Empress, which is your ecosystem blueprint. So like will help you make money from your spiritual gifts and really get to know who you are and show you all the different ways that you can actually strategize in your business and create the systems, just as Christine and myself and everyone has done. I love for anyone else, like, what was your biggest takeaway from this episode? Like, feel free to reach out and share with us on Instagram, because this is a new way. And I really hope that everyone got like so much proof from their subconscious today on like that this is all possible. Like you can live a life where you follow your purpose and your passion and be financially paid for it.
Thank you so much for your generous offer for our listeners and for all your wisdom today. Like, I really enjoyed our session together, and I'm sure everybody's going to get so many golden nuggets from it. So thanks so much again, Elaine. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, beautiful.
Thank you for allowing me to be your guide on this cosmic and entrepreneurial journey. I hope this episode inspired you in some way and would love to hear your thoughts. So send me a message on my Instagram at christinemar.co, and don't forget to subscribe, leave a 5-star review and share this episode with a friend. Until next time.